Hello everyone, I'm Hannah Martin from Talent Ladies Club, and today I'm speaking to Rhiannon Abbott. Hello Rhiannon.
Hello.
Hello. So Rhiannon has a bread making business, don't you?
Yes, the Epsom Bakehouse. I teach people to kind of bake and sell great bread. And I also teach, as well as bread making classes as one-offs, I also teach people who want to set up their own micro bakery from home. So that's a course I originally did when I started up my business, and now I teach that to people who are interested in taking forward their passion for bread baking.
Brilliant. Going back a bit, because you weren't always in bread making, were you?
No, absolutely not. I had kind of almost 10-year career in local government. So I worked in local government policy. I was on a bit of a track after university. I did a graduate scheme, went into a job, ended up working in London for over 3 years as well in local councils, basically doing policy, which everyone always looks a bit blankly, but it was a lot about applying kind of central government policy and how it would work locally in our council area. So very, very different. Did a lot of work with the voluntary sector, and did enjoy that side of things. Lots of research and kind of analysis. But yes, I went through quite a lot of reorganisations due to budgetary means, and kind of ended up in a job I didn't really enjoy and I wasn't happy. So I basically took a big career change and left a role at the end of 2012 and kind of found myself looking around thinking, what next? And the change into bread making was not completely unexpected. I've always baked. I've always really enjoyed baking. It's a really big thing. I've always baked at home. We've always made, Christmas cakes, birthday cakes, any kind of celebration. There would always be something homemade. And when I came across the Bread Angels course, and that taught people how to take their bread making skills or baking skills and turn it into a home business. And I found that course when I wasn't working, I was just temping. And I thought that really fits. It was actually something I'd said before to my other half, that I really wanted to run my own business, but actually, and that was previous to leaving my job. And I just kind of out of the blue said, I'd really like to run my own business, but I didn't really know what I was going to do. And when I came across the Bread Angels course, it really married together the two things, the passion for baking, and the passion for running my own business. So it was a great fit. And I took the course at the end of 2012 and then spent 6 months kind of developing my business idea whilst I was still temping before I launched the Epsom Bakehouse.
And what have you found the hardest about launching a business?
I think that it was all completely new. When you're working for yourself, absolutely everything you do is off your own bat. No one's going to turn up and say, here's your assignment for today, or here's the work you need to do today, or indeed here's your pay packet. None of that happens. So you've got to go out. And for me, it was a really big learning curve. And at the start, I really think I kind of felt like I was the only one doing it. I didn't know anyone else who ran their own business or who had really done that themselves, or who'd done something so radically different to their normal job. And so I think that was probably the hardest part, that the constant learning curve and I need to get out there and learn, everything from setting up my website to where can I actually sell my bread, to, the food hygiene regulations, to finances, everything. I had a lot of skills that I could apply from my previous role, and certainly having a research background really helped, because I'm a really big, if I need to know something, I'll go and find out the answer. That's a good skill that I have. But still, that doesn't make it any less daunting. And trying to find out what the right answer is can often be quite hard. But at the same time, I think I needed the challenge. I'd lost a lot of confidence in the skills I did have. And I really think that actually standing on my own 2 feet and actually having to do that really helped. So it kind of had two sides to it.
Was there anything that you found surprisingly easy? So something that maybe you thought would be difficult, but actually was more of a simple thing to do?
Well, my business has evolved in that I started off baking bread and selling it. So I had a farmer's market stall, and I was selling to local customers. And then as part of the Bread Angels, once you've done that for about 6 months and you've baked and sold bread, if you want to start teaching, you can do. And actually I found the people, the face-to-face interaction, and the talking to people about my business and my bread, and then also teaching. That was an absolute revelation, that when I started teaching my classes, I just loved it so much, and I'd never done anything like that before, really. Obviously I knew a lot about bread making, and I shadowed a lot of other bread angels and saw how their classes worked and got an idea of how I was going to run my classes. But when I started, it was almost like it was something I'd never done, but I hadn't realised that I was going to enjoy it so much. And so I think some people find that quite daunting, that you're going to stand up in front of 6 people, and at the start of the class it is, there's all this silence, you're like, oh, I'm meant to be talking. But I loved it so much, and I think that was a revelation. That was, I found that easier. And also as I say, the selling bit, I mean, yeah, it is hard. I hear people talking about sales is hard. It is hard to say to someone, I've produced this product or this service, and I think you'd really benefit from it, and here's why. But actually I really enjoy doing that side of things as well.
So yes, I was going to ask you about marketing. What for you has been your most successful marketing strategy?
For me, it's been online marketing, definitely. I didn't know anyone. We'd just moved to Epsom, which is obviously where my business is based, in the preceding months before I left my job and started my business. And so I didn't have a local community. We always say when we're starting up a business, like, maybe go out and talk to your friends, maybe you're part of a church or a community group or something like that. And, can you sell your bread to people you know or your colleagues? Well, I didn't have a job anymore, so I couldn't do that. So I had to really think about how I was going to market my business. And I really got into the social media side. So getting a presence on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, eventually has really, really helped my business and really get the word out there. And you can really target your business locally, and target how people find you. And I found that really good, and that's something I've got really into and built my business on social media as a marketing tool.
That's brilliant. I understand you actually help other people with theirs now as well, don't you?
Yeah, and that actually came around because from the previous chat we had earlier this year, the spotlight, that it was something I was toying with, that as part of the Bread Angels course that I now teach, that helps people set up their own micro bakery from home, I get a bit evangelical about using social media. And some people, if you've never used it in business, you might think, why would I? And I was starting to be asked by other bread angels and stuff, just how if we get together or anything like that, I'd always be saying, oh, look, you can do this on your Facebook and you'll find more customers or something like that, just because I really enjoyed talking about it. And then I thought, well, actually, it's something I can offer as a separate service to maybe not just bread micro bakeries, but food startups, because that's what I'm really passionate about. I love going food markets and things like that, and meeting other people who've started food startups. And so now I offer, through a separate business called Purple Loaf, I offer the business training if you want to set up your own micro bakery from home, but I also offer social media support and training for food startups. So kind of at the moment a call, and to just explore how you're going to use social media in your business and the benefits and how you can fit it in around running your business, and actually perhaps why you should, and starting to see it as a really serious marketing tool. Alongside things like print and traditional media, it's really where people do go now for kind of recommendations.
And if you had, what would be your top tip to, let's say, another food business who was starting out and wanted to promote what they were doing? What advice would you give them? I think
get your social media kind of ducks in a row, if you like. So if you're going to decide on the best platform for you, we're very lucky as food businesses that it is inherently visual, and you can make people's mouths water with a good picture. So maybe Instagram and Facebook are the way to go. If you're targeting kind of local customers, I guess it does depend on the sort of type of business you're going to run. But yeah, think about the best platform for you. Think about posting regularly, but don't just post promotional, come to my class or buy my product, but show people how your business has started up. Social media is a really great conversation to have with your potential customers, and say to them, here's what I'm doing, here's, maybe you're starting a shop. That's a really big investment of your time. So photograph it, and then photograph it being built up, and really involve the people who are in your area in the journey that's happening in the business that you're growing. So all that kind of behind the scenes stuff. And just remember that the social, it's about being sociable and engaging with people. And also the great stuff about social media is that pretty much all the platforms you can target, so you can tag your location so people will find you quite easily, and that's a really great way of finding local customers. I think that's just so beneficial for all businesses.
Absolutely. I've seen businesses in my town do that really well. One particularly was a pub and one was a seafood restaurant, and both of them renovated, and they shared all their renovation progress photos.
Yeah.
Such a long time that by the time it opened, they had this army of fans who were just waiting for their open sign to come on, and they'd been busy from day one. They're really clever about how they built that sort of anticipation before they were even actually a business.
Absolutely, and people love to buy into that. You know, people love to know what's going on in their town. They love to support local businesses. That was another thing that really I enjoyed when I started a business, that people were so happy almost that I was baking bread locally or running a business locally, and they were so happy to support it and really get behind me. And that's something I'm really grateful for. And I think I always encourage businesses when they're starting up as a local business to embrace that. And you'd be surprised how supportive people will be if you involve them in your business. Maybe not surprised is the wrong word, but it is lovely that people will. And I'm similar in Epsom. We've had food businesses start up in shops in town that perhaps aren't in areas that get the most footfall, but because they've done so much on social media and really gone out there and put themselves in front of people, as you say, in time of the renovation and what they're doing and what their mission is, that they really get that engagement.
Absolutely. And so you've been a long time member of Kickstart, our business club.
Yes.
And we've just relaunched it as a year-long business program to help businesses start up from scratch. But I just wondered, what benefit have you got from being part of Kickstart? How has it helped you?
I think there's kind of a two sides to it. The first big one for me, at the end of last year, I was really thinking about how I was going to grow my business and how I really wanted to tap in to support from other businesses. And that kind of goes back to what I was saying at the beginning. It felt like I was the only one facing the kind of challenges when you're starting up a business. And as soon as you start talking to other people who run businesses, you suddenly realize you're all kind of facing similar issues. And even if they're not a food business, there's similar stuff going on. And I think that part of it, and having the kind of online networking and the group and the support threads and the sharing of ideas and the sharing of your wins from the week or your issues that you're facing, and getting that feedback can kind of help reduce the loneliness of being a small business owner on your own, and also help you progress. So being able to say, oh, I've got this, and someone suggests ideas that you might not have even considered, and it actually just takes your business off in a whole, not maybe different direction, but it really helps you just grow your business. And I think also the other thing is having the kind of templates and the support, and they're just very easily set out. For example, I looked at the marketing one recently because I'm going to be marketing a new business, and it's just taking you through that guided process of here's what you need to think about in very simple terms. If you're marketing, like, you know, who are you going to do it to, why are you going to do it, where are you going to do it, you know, just really sitting down, because like I said at the beginning, I've never done anything like this before, and when you start you just think, oh my gosh, how on earth am I going to do this? And actually having those kind of guides is really helpful to stop you getting overwhelmed, which can also happen.
Absolutely. And I think that's one of the things, you know, we were a startup business 4.5 years ago. And I remember there's just so much you have to do. And you might have, like, you know, with you, you bring an expertise and a passion to it, but that's one area of your business.
Yeah.
You need to do absolutely everything. And it's having a route to follow to know what to do in what order, but also having the tools to do that. But also I love that idea as well. It's really important, that collective brain, that you've got other people looking at your business and giving you that feedback. You can never see, you're so close to it, aren't you, that you can't see that what's obvious to everyone else.
Yeah, absolutely. And I am definitely, I'm sure my husband will agree, I'm a bit able to blow up the smallest problem and to stress about it, and he'll be much more of the, like, no, it doesn't matter. Whereas, and I think having that, you know, is a problem shared, problem halved kind of thing, you know, that, you know, you can say something, and as you say, you're so close to it and you just can't see the wood for the trees, and you just think, oh my gosh, if I don't do this, my whole business is going to fail, or if I do it, etc., and you can't make your mind up perhaps between two opportunities, or you can't decide whether to go for something, and you really do need someone to say, look, I've been there and I've done it and it's going to be fine. Yeah. Even, you know, and that's not to say everything will work, you know, because it won't. And, you know, I obviously went off in various directions when I started my business. And I kind of think that's a part of starting your own business, that you probably won't do everything right the first time. And, you shouldn't really beat yourself up for it, because, well, I guess if you've never had any experience of it, you're never going to get everything right the first time. But it is really useful to kind of have someone or some people there saying, okay, but if you're going to do that, have you thought about X, Y, and Z just before you do it? And if you can answer those questions, then fine, go ahead and do it, because, you know, you might get somewhere with your business.
Absolutely. And in fact, in module 2 of the Kickstart, we've got a whole workbook on failure. And I think if you're starting a business and you're too afraid to fail, you won't take the risks. You need to try new things and see what works. And if you're so scared of failing, you won't push your business, you won't push the boundaries of your business out, and it won't grow. So that's really, really important.
Sure.
Finally, before we go, I just wondered, where could people find you if they wanted to know more about your business?
Yeah, so my business is called the Epsom Bakehouse. That was my first business, and I still run it. I run bread making classes, so you can go to www.theepsombakehouse.co.uk, and that all my details are on there. But my second business for teaching people how to set up their own micro bakery and for social media support for food startups is called Purple Loaf, and that's at purpleloaf.co.uk. So they're all online. Also on Twitter, at Epsom Bakehouse, at Purple Loaf. Instagram, I'm on with Epsom Bakehouse, and Facebook, I'm on with both of them. So
I can find you everywhere.
Yeah, if you just Google those, either the Epsom Bakehouse or Purple Loaf, I'm pretty sure you'll find me somewhere.
Oh, brilliant. Thank you ever so much, Rhiannon. It's been lovely to hear more about your business.
Thank you.
And I wish you every success.
Thank you very much.